Good morning. Welcome to you all today. Good morning. We're going to start our service out with a song that was written by the Mustard Retreat. It's called Gather the Family, and that's what we're doing here this morning. We're gathering our family together. If you are willing to stand and would like to stand, go do so, but please sing out. This is a song that it's for all of us, okay? Gather the family, here we belong, and welcome, good stranger, come in. Our voices together, all singing one song, and this is the place it begins. Our ancestors came from far away, from 1,000 traditions and kin. What we all share together as we stand here today, with a chance to start over again. Gather the family, here we belong, and welcome, good stranger, come in. Our voices together, all singing one song, this is the future begins. Our measure of worth's not in power or gold, the greatest truth comes from the heart. It's how we take care of the weak and the old, and this is a place we can start. Gather the family, here we belong, and welcome, good stranger, come in. Our voices together, all singing one song, this future begins. And so like a forest, our roots hold the past, while our branches reach into the sky. Let our gift to our children be family that lasts, and a future to which they can fly. Gather the family, here we belong, and welcome, good stranger, come in. Our voices together, all singing one song, and hear that the future begins. And it's here that the future begins. Thank you so much. Please be seated.
Good morning. Good morning. We've got our calendar all mixed up this year. Last week was Christmas Eve. Today is New Year's Day service. So we're going to catch up with ourselves. Good morning to those who are here in the sanctuary and those who are viewing online. My name is Chris Monk, and we welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Flint. We are an inclusive, progressive, and LGBTQ affirming church, and we are happy to have you here with us. If you would like more information about Unitarian Universalism or our congregation, please feel free to contact one of our ministers or our church office, and that contact information can be found at uuflint.org. Now, I'm just giving you forewarning. This morning, we have a lot of hard words to pronounce, so if they get mispronounced, we apologize. This Sunday service is a lay-led service. UUCF member Terri Cross will read an essay from Sandra Cisneros, The Beautiful Unforeseen, a life spent seeking connection with the world, published in Orion Magazine, autumn 2022. Sandra is a poet, short story writer, novelist, essayist, performer, artist, and author of the acclaimed The House on Mango Street. Graphic images by artist Revlynn Rodriguez, an American artist and activist, will be included. Fabiana self-identifies as queer and Latina with Afro-Peruvian roots. Revlynn and Jerry will be back with us in the pulpit next week. I have one important announcement for you that Reverend Jerry passed on to me to read this morning. Please join us in the sanctuary next Sunday at noon for an hour-long session to learn about the proposed changes to Article 2 that defines who we are as UUs. In June, our delegates to the UU General Assembly will be required to vote yes or no on some very big changes to Unitarian Universalism. These changes will likely affect the way our congregation interacts with our UU Association of Congregations in Boston. By attending next Sunday's educational session, you will be better prepared for our February congregational meeting when we vote on the instructions we will give to our GA delegates. So that's an important meeting next Sunday at noon. All right, our chalice lighting. Natural warmth is our shared capacity to love, to have empathy, to have a sense of humor. It is also our capacity to feel gratitude and appreciation and tenderness. It's the whole gamut of what often are called the heart qualities. Qualities that are natural part of being human. Natural warmth has the power to heal our relationships, the relationship with ourselves as well as with people, animals, and all that we encounter every day of our lives. Would you please join me in reciting our covenant? Recognizing the richness of diversity, the beauty and wonder of shared worship, and the transforming power of love and service, we gather as a sacred, intentional community to freely seek knowledge and truth, to celebrate the fullness of life, and by our actions to increase goodness and justice.
Opening words, When in Doubt, poem by Sandra Cisneros. When in doubt, wear fake leopard.
When in doubt, err on the side of generosity.
When in doubt, greet everyone as you would the Buddha.
When in doubt, collect blessings from those who own nothing.
When in doubt, absorb biographies to avoid life's major mistakes.
When in doubt, make life's major mistakes.
When in doubt, carry a handkerchief and a fan.
When in doubt, thank everyone twice.
When in doubt, heed the clouds.
When in doubt, sleep on it.
When in doubt, treat all sentient and insentient beings as kin.
When in doubt, forgive us our myopia. I know how to.
Myopia.
Thank you. I looked it up, I knew how to say it. Forgive us our myopia, as we forgive those who myopic against us.
When in doubt, unreel your grief to a tree.
We are all on a caucus race. There is no start, no finish, everyone wins.
Holy is the dish and drain, the soap and sink, the cup and plate, and warm wool socks, cold white tile, shower heads and good dry towels, frying eggs music sound like songs, with a bit of salt measured in my palm. It's all a part of a sacrament, as holy as a day is spent. Holy is the busy street, and cars that boom with passion's beat. The checkout girl counting change, hands that shook my hands today. Hymns of geese fly overhead, spread their wings like their parents did. Blessed be the dog that runs in her sleep to catch that wild, elusive thing. Holy is a familiar room, quiet moment in the afternoon, folding sheets like folding hands, to pray as only laundry can. I'm letting go of all I fear, like autumn leaves of the earth and air. For the summer came and the summer went, as holy as a day is spent. Holy is the place I stand, to give whatever small good I can. Empty page, the open book, redemption everywhere I look. Unknowingly we slow our pace in the shade of unexpected grace, with grateful smiles and sad lament, as holy as a day is spent. And morning light sings providence, as holy as a day is spent.
Thank you, Bonnie. That was beautiful. Carrie Newcomer's one of my favorite musicians, poets. And for our meditation. Meditation is a process of lightening up, of trusting the basic goodness of what we have, who we are, and of realizing that any wisdom that exists in what we already have. Our wisdom is all mixed up with what we call our neuroses, our brilliance, our juiciness, our spiciness. It's all mixed up with our craziness and confusion too. And therefore, it doesn't do any good to try to get rid of our so-called negative aspects, because in that process, we also get rid of our basic wonderfulness. We can lead our life to become more awake to who we are and what we're doing, rather than trying to improve or change, get rid of who we are, what we're doing. The key is to wake up, become more alert, more inquisitive, and curious about ourselves. And to remember that you are water.
Cry, cleanse, flow, let go.
Remember that you are fire.
Burn, tame, adapt, ignite.
Remember that you are air.
Observe, breathe, focus, decide.
Remember that you are earth.
Ground, give, build, heal.
Remember, you are spirit.
Connect, listen, know, be still.
You're invited to light a candle of joy or sorrow today. to also share with the congregation by writing in the book at the back of the sanctuary. We'll have just a moment of silence before. I'd light this last candle for the joys and sorrows in need of awareness and recognition within us, our community, and the world. Blessed be.
Share this song by Summer Osborne. As you feel this verse, this chorus, I am here, I am whole as I am loved, I am safe as I am. If you'd like to stand and sing, please do so. I am here, I am whole as I am. I am safe, I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I am free, and I'm as perfect as can be. I am here, I am whole as I am. Nothing can communicate the darkness like a serenade. Nothing can make peace like a song. We got a ways to go, but then we're closer than we've ever been. Let's walk together on and on. I am here, I am whole as I am. I am safe, I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I'm free, and I'm as perfect as can be. I am here, I am whole as I am. I propose a family that looks a lot like you and me, including all the people that we love. Then we'll take a photograph of everybody as they laugh, put it in a book entitled Us. I am here, I am whole as I am. I am safe, I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I'm free, and I'm as perfect as can be. I am here, I am whole as I am. May seem just like a song, may seem just like a thought, but it will soon take hold, become a truth that's taught for generations, generations, generations. I am here, I am whole as I am. I am safe, I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I'm free, and I'm as perfect as can be. I am here, I am whole as I am. Let's sing those last three lines. I am here, I am whole as I am. I hope you realize that you are.
I think that serves as a good reminder to bring Summer Osborne back to perform here would be a goal for this new year. She's wonderful. And that reminds me of our own Debra May and the times we've had with Summer here in the past. So let's make that happen. The sermon today, I found an essay. It was in my very first copy of a new magazine I received, Orion. And I thought, I tucked it away because I thought, that has meaning to me. I think that just might be of use. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. And the images that will go along with it by Fabian Rodriguez. The summer before I started graduate school, my parents invited me to vacation with them to the Yucatan. I'm talking a long time ago. I'm 67 now, and this was back in 1976 when I was all of 21. Too old to travel with my parents, I thought. But out of nostalgia for our trips to Mexico as a child, I said, yes. We traveled along the Mayan coast when it was still simply two-story hotels along virgin beaches. At a little beach stand of hammocks called Acma, we stopped for a rest. My parents disappeared, but I was lured to the water's edge. I've always been afraid of the ocean. Yet here the shoreline was sheltered by a curve of land and palm trees, shallow enough for me to feel safe. I waded in and lay down on my back, the ridges on the ocean floor adjusting and accommodating the curves of my body. The waves barely lapping at my earlobes, I shut my eyes. Then something shifted. All at once, I was no longer myself inside my own body. I knew I was connected to everything around me. Everything was connected to me. I was the waves, the ocean, the palm trees above, the sky, everything little and large in the universe. We were all woven together, as if created from one giant textile. For the first time, I had no fear of dying. I don't know how long I was held in this state of joy, but it snapped like a bubble the moment my father shouted my name. One thing I know for sure, I hadn't caused that intense moment. How could I explain to my parents what had just happened to me when I didn't know how to explain it to myself? I said nothing. We drove off immediately, though I promised myself one day I'd come back. Something else. Just weeks after Acma, I began my debut month in graduate school at the University of Iowa. It was also my debut of living away from home. In my Mexican culture, no one, male or female, moves out from under their parents' roof till marriage. And sometimes, not even then. It had taken all my effort to convince my father to allow me to live 4 hours away from our Chicago home. Because we had lived in neighborhoods that even the cops were afraid to enter, my father worried how I was going to take care of myself on my own. So when my graduate seminar ended in the late evening after the campus buses stopped running, I worried about getting back to my dorm safely. The pedestrian overpass along Riverside Drive winged over several lanes of traffic directly into the woods. Graduate housing was just beyond that, but what city woman would be crazed enough to walk into a wooded area alone at night? I opted to scurry across several lanes of traffic and walk along the highway shoulder. I was composing a poem in my head when the horizon collapsed into a steep slant. Streetlights whirled. I heard tires screeching and someone scream. And when the world finally stopped somersaulting, I was sitting on asphalt, a car's headlight glaring in my face. It took me a few seconds to realize what had happened. Luckily, I broke no bones. I didn't see the car that struck me, and I fell like a rodeo clown. I remember the emergency room interview went like this. Any family you would like us to notify? If my father were called, I knew he would leap into his Toyota Corolla, roar down Interstate 80, and force me to come home. None, I lied. Any friends you'd like us to phone? I was living in graduate school housing. I only knew my 3 roommates, but not well. Not well enough to upset them. Not really. When the nurse asked, religion? I said, none. But that wasn't exactly true. Since childhood, I had talked to trees, and trees talked to me. But how could I tell her that without sounding like a flower child? No family, no friends, no God? Before bed, I examined myself in the flimsy privacy of my dormitory shower and started to cry. The body, with its scrapes and bruises, my life was a galloping horse, and I was simply dangling from the stirrups. This was the beginning of a contemplative inquiry. Poetry became my hermitage. I know a spiritual search began with that accident, Back then, I didn't include the river that ran through campus and gave me much solace, or the trees that had been a place of refuge for me since childhood as being things I thought of as spiritual. I was on a journey of the Spirit nonetheless, even if I didn't know it. When I was 27, I was fortunate to receive a National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship, which allowed me to finish my first novel and travel. During a visit to Sarajevo the year before the 1984 Winter Olympics, long before anyone could imagine a war that would mar the countryside with landmines, I was hiking with a Yugoslav friend on Trebovec Mountain. At one point, along a steep canyon, the sky was saturated with color, the clouds as vivid as a Maxwell Parrish illustration against the horizon. I remember not wanting to leave this vantage point and asking my friends if they could go on ahead without me, fetch me on their return. Soon after they left, I felt an intense surge with everything I saw around me and everything connecting to me, just as I had in Acoma. Again, it was clear, unquestionable, and wondrous. I don't know how long I was held in that state of well-being. It dissipated as suddenly as it descended. When my friends came back, I didn't even mention it. In Chicago, I had glimmers of this awareness, but never the potency of Acoma or Trebovec. For me, these communions happened when I was confiding to trees, or when stunned by a sunset or cross-examining clouds, or occasionally when listening to classical music in Grant Park, band shell. But in Chicago, they were just sparks, not whole fireworks. Slow by slow, little by little, divine providence herded me south to San Antonio, Texas, for a job. And this move brought me closer to the land I remembered from my childhood trips to Mexico. Eventually, I bought a 100-year-old house with a 100-year-old pecan tree in my front garden. In the autumn, it sent me distress notes. By way of leaves, my pets and I tracked indoors. They were nature's Post-its notes, poems written by my pecan tree. But my days were cluttered with the flotsam and jetsam of living, so I didn't get the message. Nowadays, I live in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, in the high desert plateau of Mexico called El Bajío, where my ancestors lived 100 years ago, and possibly 100 years before that. A choice I made because I fell in love with the land. I'd like to think my grandparents called me to return because they couldn't. Forced to flee during the Mexican Revolution, they meandered north, eventually making their way to Chicago, city of dirty snow, and never returned to the stunning desert of their youth again. One of the delights of living in Mexico is that Mexico forces you to live in the present moment. If you expect that things run smoothly, this is not the place for you. But if you want to be nourished daily by the beautiful unforeseen, you will fall in love with the sky, land, animals, and people. A patch of wild morning glories climbing a telephone pole, and grandmother kissing her grandbaby, a monarch butterfly making its way from Canada to Michoacan, a good-looking spider with knockout legs. Every day I'm wowed by the beauty of unforeseen. To be fair, there exists the ugly unforeseen. I'm not ignoring that, but if we only look at the ugly in the universe, we lose sight of that which buoys the spirit daily and allows us to keep moving forward on our path. What is depression if not stagnation? In his book, Love Letters to the Earth, Thich Nhat Hanh calls us to be spiritual revolutionaries. He says we must fall in love with the earth for us to be concerned for her welfare, the same way falling in love with a person causes us to be concerned about the beloved. When I was young, I was obsessed with looking for love in a single person, without realizing love was being offered to me all the time. Now that I'm older, I'm more of a lover than ever. But my lovers are the trees, skies, animals, earth, plants, universe. I feel like the poet Rumi. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. When I got my COVID vaccine, I was asked who to notify in case of emergency. I wanted to say the Milky Way. My mother had a habit when she was alive of phoning and answering my hello with, "What?" I would pause at my end before I reminding her, "But you called me." Now, 15 years dead, when she pops into my thoughts out of nowhere or pops into my dreams, I know as she is ringing, obliging me to pick up and answer, "Hello," so she can rile me up by asking, "What?" Though I live alone, I don't feel alone because of her frequent calls. A few years ago, during a difficult time in my life, I had this dream. I dreamed the full moon visited me. In my dream, the moon peered into my window from the upper right pane of glass, flooding my bedroom with moonlight. The moon spoke to me and said, "Mia, don't worry. I'm watching over you." At that moment, I understood instantly the moon was both my deceased mother and Mother Earth. I woke and felt a wave of relief and joy. I held still so I could savor the moment, savor the feeling. After a few moments, I realized I was lying with my back to the window. I turned around, and just as in the dream, the full moon was there in the upper right corner of the window, flooding the room with moonlight. Then I knew it had not been a dream, but a visitation. I am living with my ancestors, starting with my mother. The sky is free and easy to access, especially from my terrace. The trees have not forgotten me. The swallows remind me I am home, along with 2 guardian pepper trees, 4 palm trees, several cactuses, flowers, hummingbirds, ants, high-stepping spiders, wasps, butterflies, white cranes, owls, and a herd of clouds, all tugging for my attention. "What?" they ask. "But you called me." Exactly. 3 months ago, when crossing one of the cobbled streets here in San Miguel, a parked taxi lurched backwards and knocked me down, striking me in the same place on my body where I'd been struck by the car the first time, behind the hip. Again, I wasn't seriously hurt, except for a back that's still sore and a renewed fear of crossing streets. I think this wake-up call was a universe saying, "Pay attention, write poetry." I'm on a journey of consciousness of my own making, along with everyone else. My journey is like no one else's, everyone on a path different than mine. No one's course better or worse, some running, some walking, some aware they are on a path, some not even conscious that a path exists. No one winning over anyone else, no one losing. I'm a life in progress. Considering how long it took mountains to become mountains, it may take several lifetimes before I'm done with my becoming, but I'm patient. Ultimately, as Einstein said, the only source of knowledge is experience. I can't convince anyone of anything I've learned in my lifetime unless they've already learned it themselves. But I can share poems with my readers, though they are as personal as my eyeglass prescription. If they do you any good to bring things into focus, help yourself. 43 years later, just before the pandemic lockdown, I finally returned to Acoma to search for what I was sure was a spiritual door. I was disappointed to find a beach cluttered with ugly condos and raucous music. The only mystical guest was a full moon. Soon after my visit, I had a dream that told me this: Akama is not the door. The door is in you. Thank you.
We're going to go back to what Chris said earlier. This is supposed to be our New Year's Eve service. Thus, my sparkly clothes. And my song, written by Jan Christ, called Auld Lang Syne. In the end, you'll have a part to sing that Auld Lang Syne song. I just want to point out some of the words she says in here. So like the second or third verse, whatever it is, she says, simple pleasures of the day decorate our years, shine inside the quiet of all that we hold dear. They tumble into lyric and they ring like silver chimes, and they light our hearts like candles for the darker times. And we just have to be awake to see that that is what's going on in our lives. So I hope you enjoy this song. This morning when I woke, had my coffee in my chair, I watched a little TV as I said a little prayer, and I listened to the traffic as the buses come and go, and the sound of distant voices as the passengers unload. Ooh, tomorrow when I wake, gonna take a little walk, gonna take my little spaniel up and down the block, and we'll come in from the cold and she'll tap dance on my floor as I take my hatted coat off. And I hang 'em by the door. Ooh, ooh, oh, ooh. And in the night I'll lay my head on your perfect shoulder, heavy blankets for the bed. Simple pleasures of the day decorate our years and shine inside the quiet of all that we hold dear. And they tumble into lyric and they ring like silver chimes as they light our hearts like candles for the darker times. Ooh, ooh. And here we are at the edge of a new year, and we're holding out our candles, 'cause it's dark out there. Tomorrow when we wake, we'll put the coffee on, we'll open up the drape, and we'll watch the city dawn, and we'll say a little prayer for our planet and our time, and drink that coffee in like kindness for Auld Lang Syne. Ooh, ooh, oh, oh, should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of Auld Lang Syne? For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne, we'll drink a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. Thanks for singing along.
This is our time for generosity. We thank you for all your gifts of time, talent, and financial contributions. Without all of these things, we would not be able to be who we are. You can leave your financial contribution at the back of the church as you leave, or donate online at uuflint.org. This is also the time for our second Sunday donation. This month's contributions are going to the UU Service Committee. The UU Service Committee's work began in 1939 with Reverend Waystill and Martha Sharp, who took an extraordinary risk helping refugees escape Nazi persecution in Europe. UUSC advances human rights and social justice around the world, partnering with those who confront unjust power structures and mobilizing to challenge oppressive policies. Our work is grounded in the belief that all people have inherent power and dignity. We inspire, equip, and sustain spiritually grounded activism for justice, offering a continuum of educational, skill building, and experiential opportunities. Actions include crisis response, climate justice, and Central American migrant justice. Once again, you can leave your donation at the back of the church as you leave. If you're writing a check, please write Second Sunday donation in the memo line. Thank you.
In closing, thank you to everybody who helped and supported me with this lay-led service. And I ask you to support authors, poets. Sandra Cisneros was the acclaimed author of The House on Mango Street. Check out her books of poetry. Read her books. Support poets. Nikki Giovanni is coming to here to Flint. The Genesee Public Library is bringing her in for African American Women Brunch, annual brunch. So support artists when they come to town. You can find out more, you can see information on their Facebook feed. And I'm ending with a poem by Sandra Cisneros. And this poem was based on a phrase her father used to say when teaching her to drive. Teaching our children to drive is one of the scariest moments of my life. I don't know about you. I want to live. And I am not the best driver. Ask my daughter. This is called After a Quote from My Father, poem by Sandra Cisneros for Levi Romero. The floors are sticky with golden leaves. The dogs and I track in on the soles of our feet. Winter clothes need to be brought down, make the bed, comb hair, wash the body, sleep. Too many to-dos posted on my nose. Check bank account, stop at vet. Pick up spray for fleas. None say. Look at the moon. Write poetry. Take your time, Mia. Take your time. And now we extinguish the chalice. Extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.